In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to transpose data in Snowflake using the pivot operator. This is a powerful feature that allows you to rotate your data, transforming unique values from one of your columns into multiple columns. It's particularly handy when you want to summarize data across different categories. Let's dive into how you can do this step by step. First, you'll need to start with a basic SQL select statement. This is where you'll specify the data source you're working with. Once you have the data source, you'll then introduce the pivot operator. This is the part that will help you transpose your data. The general structure of the pivot clause is pretty straightforward. You'll want to include an aggregate function, the pivot column, and the value column. Let's break each of these down to make sure you have a clear understanding. Starting with the aggregate function, this is a crucial component of the pivot operation. You can think of it as the method you're using to combine or summarize the data. Common aggregate functions include sum, avg, and count. Depending on the type of data and your specific requirements, you'll choose the one that best fits your needs. Next, we have the pivot column. This is essentially the focal point of your pivot operation, where you decide which column's values you want to aggregate. This column will help you summarize data in a meaningful way, allowing the rest of your data structure to change around it. Let's move on to the value column. This is also vital to the process, as it contains the values that will become your new column headers once the data is rotated. Carefully selecting this column is important because it determines how your new data structure will look once the pivot operation is completed. Once you've chosen your aggregate function, pivot column, and value column, it's time to specify the values in the value column you want to transform into new column headers. This involves listing out each specific value in the value column within the pivot clause. For example, if you're dealing with categories like country, and you have USA, Canada, and Mexico as values, these will become the new columns in your transformed data structure. The final syntax would look something like this. You'd start with select, indicate the data source with from, and then apply your pivot clause, filling in your chosen aggregate function, pivot column, and value columns along with the specific values you want to transpose. And there you have it. A complete guide to using the pivot operator in Snowflake to transpose your data. This process can seem complex at first, but once you understand the building blocks, you'll be able to leverage it to reshape your data quickly and efficiently. Try to practice with different sets of data and aggregate functions to get comfortable, and soon you'll be transposing like a pro. Thanks for watching and happy querying.